Where's my check?
Dude, these are huge, and they got magnets all
20
around the bottom.
bones.
And look at this. There's a clip.
Oh, we're live.
There's a D-ring clip. Yes, you see this?
You're a D-ring.
Oh, you can mount that on like a 2x4.
I don't know. No, you can hang it from like a bag or something.
I don't know. Popping out the chizat. Where are you at? What's up, everybody? We getting it started.
Want to hang out in my closet with me?
Do we want to hang out in his closet?
I'm in the closet. Yeah, I'm in the closet.
I'm in the closet.
Oh, check this out. Look at this. My wife bought me this from TikTok. You believe that?
Oh my god, dude, that is rad. You need to start selling those.
No, someone already does. Like you send your picture and they'll superimpose it on some kind of like
no,
that.
you should sell them as a merch.
That's great.
No ego here. Nope.
Hey, listen to this.
Listening.
Dude, these things are loud.
Listening.
What the heck?
Hello. Hola. What are we discussing today? Anything y'all want.
Cars.
I got a whole list of stuff. We got GPS issues, got TPMS problems, rear end booty problems. We're gonna talk Rayman Ray's shop.
Yeah.
Very proud of him. Very proud of him. FBM, he's slowly hobbling along, but he has a booty problem, and we're not talking about his booty, a rear end booty, specifically a dump truck. This would be an M300. We're going to talk about that, some CNG 5.0 stuff, kind of weird, and then deaf.
Q in. It ain't your beauty, it's your booty.
Yes. Ray and Ford Boss in the house. Yeah. So yes, welcome everybody.
I'm having taillight issues.
Taillight issues, that could be a problem. 22s, I don't know. I hate when these trucks have issues. Tom, I'm freaking hungry.
This is a 20. It's got tail lights, but I don't have brake lights.
Ooh, is it the ambulance?
Yes.
Ooh. I can't say I have done BCMs in those ones. I've done a lot of them in the steel bodies. I have a confirmed fix. If you guys have had the Super Duties with the 8-inch screen, I'm not talking about Sync 4, I'm talking about Sync 3. So this would be 17 to 20. Well, it's a current model if you don't have the Sync 4 screen. If you are experiencing the no GPS or the GPS with the red, like no smoking sign, GPS logo through it, I had to replace the APIM. That is the accessory protocol interface module. It bolts screws with 3 little screws to the back of the radio face, the touch screen, and it is more or less the interface that converts all of the functions and touches into actions, and also the GPS antennas go through that. So he also was complaining that his phone was losing connection. No codes. I don't know if you can replace that with ForeScan, if you can program that. I would like to try. But another interesting one with a 22 Ford dealer service advisor with you guys, fellow Super Duty owner Gene Miller, 2267. Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. Death? You mean gasoline? No, I don't mean gasoline.
Is that
We'll need it next month, according to everybody else.
Yeah.
22. All right, let me read you guys this. It's kind of I can't really paraphrase this. Let me go to my man. Where's he at? There he is, right there. All right, he's got a 22 F350, and this is what he says. I've had my new 22 F350 7.3 gasser. Don't give me a hard time. LOL. For about 6 months, he ordered it and waited 8 months. All right, so check this out. Basically, drove it from the dealer straight to the tire shop to get some newer, beefier tires put on. So, dealer straight to the tire shop. This truck is not my daily driver, so I was only driving it once or twice a week, if that. I noticed that the TPMS fault popped on one time while I was driving it. Went back to the tire shop and they reset them and said to drive a while and that they should reset. I think they did eventually. To make a long story short, here's the gist. The TPMS fault goes on sporadically while driving the truck for a while. Remember, this is a 22. This has got like less than 500 miles on it. When the fault happens, sometimes all of the tires won't read. Other days it will be just one tire or two or three, and it changes which tires are all the time. If my truck is off for the night or even a couple of hours and I turn the truck back on and all four tires are showing pressure again, like nothing ever happened. I've been driving this truck daily to see if I notice a pattern, but there isn't one. Just that every day it starts out fine, and after driving it a while, the fault occurs and some tires won't read. I've had the tire shop put new aftermarket TPMS sensors. When that didn't work, I bought new Ford TPMS sensors from the dealer, and they are doing the same thing. I've taken it to the dealer twice and they cannot figure it out either. The first time the dealer said, now this is kind of like, what? The first time the dealer said, when they didn't have any codes, that we have nothing to go on and we can't do anything. Huh?
Do I have a symptom chart?
Huh? I
Isn't
told
that why we
them
open up a case with tech support?
that, or you diagnose by symptom.
I had a F-150 do this back in 2016. It was actually the transponder or the receiver or whatever you call it.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
They told me to drive it for a while in order for it to happen. They did not have time to do that, so I drove it for a couple of hours and it faulted out, and I took it back to the dealer and the tech scanned it and got the code and said now they got the code to bring it back in and they'll look into it. After I did, they still couldn't figure it out. They couldn't even relearn the TPMS sensors. This is more annoying than anything. I know something isn't right. I feel like it might be some kind of module antenna Bluetooth issue. Oh yeah, I just remembered. The first time the dealer couldn't figure it out, they said it must be a frequency issue and that I must have something plugged into the truck that is disrupting the Bluetooth connection. I only ever have an iPhone charger plugged in, but just to be safe, I started troubleshooting and made sure there was nothing plugged in and made sure mine and everybody else's cell phones, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi's were turned off to make sure there wasn't any interruption, and it still did it. I did recalls and nothing related to this fixed it. Always checking online forums to see if others are experiencing this, but it seems like this is a new problem. What do you think? Sergio, I
all,
appreciate you.
It's not Bluetooth. It's a 433 megahertz radio frequency.
Okay. Let's say, fellas, let's pause for a second. Did we try to put the original tires back on the vehicle and see if it did it with the original tires on before we did anything? The only thing we changed out of this, the only thing that we changed for this to even kick off was the tires. Correct. So we have to start with the basics first. If we don't have anything to go off of, we can troubleshoot and try to reach for the stars all we want. But there was no problem before the tires were swapped. What if there's something made with this tire that the rim or something, the system just doesn't like the way it's rotating, the way it's receiving? Because if you, like Cody said, if you, just like we've all said, a symptom chart will sometimes take us in the right direction, but it's a place to start. One of the steps in that symptom chart is going to say, have the transponder closest to the position of the vehicle, like closest to where the body would be, try to go through and reprogram and stuff again. And I'm thinking to myself in my head while he's telling the story, there was not a problem with the vehicle before the tires were swapped.
That's a good point.
Why not put the original tires back on the vehicle?
Good point.
I know that's not where we want to go. And if it continues to do it, we know we have a problem. If
Did
it
he
doesn't
change rims
continue
too?
yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't think rims. He said beefier tires. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And what
Sorry.
tires were they? You know, what
he
tires
didn't
were
say.
they? You know, were how much bigger were they? Would it like a circumference size? You know, that is, you know, instead of 12 30-seconds or 4, maybe these things are massive. Some aftermarket Chinese or whatever. Who knows? I mean, I don't. I would go back with the OE tires and redrive it, recalibrate everything if you can, and see if it doesn't do the same thing, you have a tire issue. The truck doesn't like the frequency or the way the tires are acting with, like Anthony said, the 433 megahertz frequency is something there. It's not jiving with those tires.
And going back to that, when that F-150 happened to me, it ended up being the transponder. It had the factory tires on it. So
yeah, I've had one do that. Just like you said, same thing. It was the transponder, or it was it was that transponder receiver or whatever.
Yeah, they put new TPMS in it, and it does the exact same thing, even when you program it. And you end up changing the transponder out, and the receiver I forgot what they called it, but it actually fixed the problem. So, but it had the stock tires.
I reached out to him, and we actually talked over the phone, and he is going to get back to me. So he's going to take it back to the dealer, and they're going to do something. He didn't say what code they got.
Put the original tires back on it before you do anything else.
Yeah.
Don't have the dealer do a bunch of stuff. You don't want people in your truck ripping stuff apart and everything else. Go back and put the original tires back on and start from there with the original tires on it.
Looks like we got some new faces in here tonight. Welcome, Matt Small Engines. Had Army Vet. Welcome, guys. Mo Crank. What up? What up? 22 now. 22, 21, 20, and everything to 11. Unfortunately, has to use DEF. I had an interesting email a couple of days ago, and he was bringing something up to me I wasn't aware of. DEF, you have Motorcraft DEF, and then you have Peak, and you have
Def Blue or whatever it is.
Yeah, Def Blue. Is that the one with the rhino on it?
Yeah, it's like a white box with the blue logo. Yeah.
Which one is the ultra pure one? It's supposed to be like ultra pure or something like
Platinum.
that. Yeah, the platinum one or something.
Well, he had told me, he said, which do you prefer? I said, I personally use the Motorcraft one. That's what I have accessible to me in gallons upon gallons. But he said that the platinum did not crystallize. Yo, what up? Did not crystallize. And I'm like, wait, what? The DEF? All DEF crystallizes.
Yeah, it's urea and water.
That chemical reaction where it's changing because of the air, it's oxidizing and now we're forming crystals. I mean, I would think all DEF would be doing that. No? Or it crystallizes less. So I have never used the platinum DEF. I don't know if you guys have used the invisible box. Been seeing a lot of those things thrown on the side of the road too, which is not cool.
No, it's not. Clean up after yourself. That's trash.
Most definitely. Yes, Ray is the man. He does have a nice hat. It's not a sombrero.
He's my woman, and I'm his woman.
What are the guys that are here in the comments who are in the cold weather states? We got Ford Beater Tech doesn't count. We got DS. we got four boss and CP. He don't count either because he's wearing shop safety sandals. So the guys who are in the cold weather states, are you most likely have a 4x4? Because I don't know why somebody's buying a 2-wheel drive Super Duty. But if you
Link
have to,
capacity.
what are you putting in the bed of your truck? Are you putting weight sandbags? Are you putting what are you putting back there? Detroit
Bodies.
here. What?
It's
Body,
cold
yada,
here.
yada, yada. Anthony
Um,
bodies.
Bodies.
What do you putting in there?
I'm gonna go with bodies too. Body, yada, yada,
Bodies.
yada, yada, yada.
That's funny.
Guys, I have to go and do a zombie check in my daughter's bedroom.
Go zombie that.
We got to go check for. There's like a murderer or something hiding in her closet.
For Tech Life, I'm so sorry, buddy.
I guess
I'll pray for you tonight.
a safe bet is just get some tube sand from the depot. It's already in a tube. It's in a bag. You set it in there.
So I've seen a bunch of people come in. I've seen 80 bag sacks of concrete. They've actually got
I don't think
made
I don't think he's here.
I can't think of what I'm trying to say. Made a wood frame around the inside of the bed over the axle,
I think you're good.
and it kept the bags from sliding around.
Yeah, there's no
But
zombies in here. We're good.
I think it was like maybe 500 pounds or something, and that's what they had in the bed of the truck for the winter. So I personally don't run anything. I put 400 pounds of sand in the bed for plowing. Okay. Nothing in the back, just 4x4 when needed. I have a 110 ox tank. That keeps my ascent planted. I like it. Okay, that's a good one.
What about the old school guys from back in the day, Aaron, that would put railroad ties in their? They'd have them in their bed or like in between the frame. Man, beefing it up a little bit, man. Put a railroad.
You sound like Vader.
You mean like a timber kit? So you just put a railroad tie in there?
That's
Man,
funny.
put a railroad tie back there, man. Be a real man.
Hey, who needs snow chains for their tires, man? I got some at work. We don't
yeah.
need them.
Yeah, we
needs
don't
them?
use snow chains.
If anybody needs them, hit me up. You can have them.
No snow chains. Oh, look at the little dolly. Is that Elsa?
There, yeah. Is that Elsa?
It looks
Yeah,
like
that's
Elsa.
She said that's Elsa. There is stuff everywhere in this room.
Oh my god.
you're
Don't even get
cleaning
me
this tomorrow,
started.
lady. I'll tell you that right now.
I can't. I have stuff everything.
Ray, give
Hey,
that
man.
zombie a shot of brake cleaner.
Hey, what
I
happened
don't
to
have
that?
any here. Yeah, you're cleaning this tomorrow.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
right
I
now.
didn't take my mask for.
Rapid heat.
I'm
Who
holding
got
it
rapid
ransom
heat?
till you clean your room.
Who's got rapid heat? Who's got rapid heat? I don't have rapid heat. Do you think you could add it to your truck? Do you think you could? What do you think would have to happen to achieve that FBM?
What,
Pull the
rapid?
dash.
What are you
Yeah,
talking
you
about,
know,
rapid?
the supplemental heat, the little grid heater element that goes right between the heater core and like right ahead of the AC condenser or evaporator.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, so on the Power Strokes, I have rapid heat. I don't have rapid heat. It is
Well, let's
a
look.
device that is pretty much, I guess it goes right to the battery. It goes to through a fusible link on the side of the passenger side battery, and it provides heat exceptionally quicker than waiting for 8 gallons of coolant to heat up through transfer heat.
I ain't never seen that, bro. I ain't
Really?
never seen it. No, never worked on a Super Duty with it.
Tommy's asking about you, DS, while you looking like you staring off into space, sitting in your little elevator
What did he say?
escalator.
It's
I was
past
just
bedtime.
listening to Ford Boss talk about this heater.
So
Oh,
you
what's up,
need
Tom?
the box, you need the heater, the
Mhm.
harness, and probably I believe there's a module as well.
Is there? That's what I didn't know about, because I know on the steel-bodied ones, when you pull the dash, there's an actual bulk connector that you have to take off of the side of the battery and a ground wire, and then that pulls through the dash and comes with it. I guess I've never done enough Illumiduties to remember.
It looks like the box may have a hole for it, but I'm looking at ECAT right now.
A-Rod, I don't know if you remember me from last week, but I got rid of my F-150 problem. Hell yeah, brother. I bought an
Well-
18250 6.7. I love it. Yeah.
That'll fix it. Yep.
Yeah.
Now you have a rear end problem.
No, no, no.
Wow, there's
I had two. Sorry, boys.
so the core charge on the heater unit itself costs more than the heater unit.
It's because they want it back.
How much is the heater unit? How much is the core charge?
The heater's 107, the core is 200 or 125.
Oh, that's not too bad.
The
I
heater's
know I
only
had-
the heater's only $64 dealer cost.
How many PC3Z 6 Apple 785 apples are still alive? Probably not a lot.
Zero.
Probably not a lot.
That's your.
How many guys right now, all 347 of you, who wants to see me, who wants to see us on the channel put
I do.
a 2023 CCV on
I thought
a
you were talking about
current
something else.
gen Super Duty?
I mean, you sold all of them, so
Most definitely.
they were all gone a day and a half later.
I don't think it's a matter of how many. You're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
You got to do it. You have to do it.
I bought a 17 through 19, and I bought a 20. I'm sorry, not 17 through 19. I bought a 22 and bought a 23. And this is the first time that I saw the part number be a Paul Charlie 3Z. I'm going to have a video coming up where we're going to talk about the part numbers and breaking down the prefix, the base part number, and the suffix, what that all means, what these numbers up front mean, what these numbers on the end mean, what this base part number means, what the first digit signifies. It's your wait, what? I didn't know that. It's really interesting, and it helps you kind of work your way around the parts catalog and looking up stuff in the workshop manual. It's just, I don't know. You just know
Helps
the
your parts
numbers.
guy out.
Yeah, it helps your part. Whoa, dude, I didn't know you knew the number. Bro, we ain't messing around, especially the Super Duty ones. It's been interesting to see that I've been in the game so long. When I first started out, the beginning part numbers were 3C, 3Z. Da 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 da. Now they've gotten rid of all the numbers because there's no more numbers and they're just now all letters. So it's
I mean,
PC.
All my parts are E or F.
Yeah.
So the new fuel injection pump is PC3 or PC3Z with an apple at the end.
Okay, something that is also interesting, and I totally forgot to talk about this, and Cody just reminded me. You guys that all have the new trucks and do not have the badges. The badges. The badges.
Man, they look so goofy without the badges.
The badges. We're gonna have to contact SSSC, and we're gonna get the correct badges on your truck, but you're gonna be actually notified via a letter. Let's see, what does it say? Super Duty. Temporary Super Duty badges could include both side fender vent nameplate trim badges, molded color black in place of the F-250 Lariat. Missing badges could include both door powertrain badges, 6.7 Power Stroke and or King Ranch badge on the tailgate. The customers are supposed to sign a little letter saying that, you know, hey, yeah, we know that the things are missing. Kind of a bummer, but I guess I'd rather have my truck than some silly badge that I was waiting on. I mean, some guys have been waiting over a year for their truck.
We had one out on the lawn and I didn't even have to know the truck was there. I was just parked a customer's car in the pickup area. I turned around, I scanned the lot and I caught it immediately in the scan. I was like, what is that? Oh God. That just plain black implanted badge right there. And I was like, that's not a Super Duty, man. That badges need to be there.
I was talking with one of my coworkers, or was it my coworker? I was talking to somebody. I can't remember. We were talking about the new 23, and you know, he brought up the side badge, and I said, it looks like the thing is carrying a sword. And he's like, oh my God, it totally does.
You know what? I like it though. Like, I don't have a problem with that badge at all on the vent on the side.
I want to see it in person.
He likes the Final Fantasy sword.
I do. I don't like the steps. I think the grill, the bed step and the bumper step, I'm not into that. Not one bit.
Okay.
Especially the bumper. Like, what?
Okay.
They hired someone from GM to freaking design this truck.
I'll be back in a minute.
Roger that, Echo One. Welcome wagon is in the air. Oh, let's see. We got a
Four balls.
question
What do you
from-
think?
About
Longer badge on the side, taller badge, bumper step.
I don't know, man. Because once you pointed that out, I started looking at it and I was like, I don't know if I'm a fan of that. And then I was like, I don't mind it, but maybe it's just because I'm not used to it, and maybe I need to give it a chance first before I really say anything bad about it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough of it, so I haven't been talking mess about it at all. Not the steps, not anything, because I was like, you know what, I want to physically see it, use it, drive it, and then I'll say something about it. But until then, I really don't have an opinion. At first glance, I'm like, that's new, that's different, but I don't have anything bad to say.
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely step on the steps. At least on a bumper. I always stand on it. I stand on a tire, dude. I got no problem being on a tire.
He's a good little worker.
Hmm.
I'm curious with the battery short, which do you boys recommend going with? I was looking at Optima. If you guys had to choose two batteries, which the 23s are coming with AGMs. And we just recently had a Super Duty in, and for some reason the customer called Ford and complained, and a case was opened, and Ford actually paid to have those batteries put in. It's like, what? But I saw a video on YouTube of somebody with the 23 and the hood was open, and you could clearly see that they had AGM batteries in there. They weren't the lead acid. So interesting. I'd be up for some new batteries because one of mine is starting to leak, which kind of brings open another can of worms to discuss about. And Ford Boss and I were discussing this earlier. And a comment too today, he had said, I'm paraphrasing, I think it's funny when all these young techs get butthurt when they see a little bit of wetness under a vehicle.
Oh, this is
Okay.
This is a good conversation. Yeah.
Okay. I get it. So what do you consider a leak that you have to fix? Dude brings his truck in for an oil leak.
It forms a droplet.
If I laid up underneath my man's truck, and it looked dry, like the transpan, like the rear axle, like the fuel tank skid plate, like the frame. I don't see a leak. If everything else is dry and I can clearly see that the oil pan is all wet. Well, hold on for a second. You mean to tell me that some wetness is normal? I'm gonna have to disagree with that. Okay, hold on. By the drive shaft, by the U joints, that's different. Oil pan seal, upper oil pan, that shouldn't be seeping, shouldn't be leaking, shouldn't be wet. It shouldn't be nothing but dry. I should see dry metal, silicone, dry metal. If I buy this $80,000 truck right now and I go and look underneath it, I'm expecting to see it bone dry, not wet. In my eyes, if it's what'd you say? Go ahead. Go ahead.
What did Anthony just say though? By definition, if it doesn't form a droplet, it's considered seepage, and that can be considered normal. That is not a fault. But here's the scenario I'm going to put in the viewer's court. Truck comes in, is a little moist around the pinion seal or the rear cover, a little moist, but not forming a droplet, not accumulating to where it's running off and it hasn't dropped off the vehicle yet. So you come in and I tell you, well, technically this vehicle is still under powertrain warranty. And if I'm going by Ford standard, I don't see a droplet. Nothing's dripping off of it yet. It's moist around it. I can't technically do anything until I see a problem by their standards. The next time you come in, now, wow, man, I don't even have a load on this thing. I'm just going down the road. I've got all kinds of noise coming from the rear end. There's clattering and stuff going on. This thing sounds like a can of marbles going down the road. And then I climb up underneath that, and that moisture has turned into catastrophic failure. And now I've got to put a $7,000 rear end in his truck. At what point between when he was there the first time and I let it go because of the spec that Ford gives us as technicians, that we have to adhere to, until the next time he comes in for general service, now there's been a serious failure in between that, and now he needs a $7,000 rear end. We have to draw the line somewhere to say, you know what, I understand that's your discretion, but that's not normal to me. Because if this keeps building up, by the time the customer comes back in, they're not going to climb under their truck every single day and inspect that rear end and say, oh, it's getting worse, it's getting worse, it's getting worse. They're going to take your word for it because their vehicle is still under warranty. And they're going to say, you know what? All right, you say it's normal, I'm going to let it go. And then they got catastrophic failure, and then they're down a truck waiting on a $7,000 rear end for 4 months before a whole assembly shows up.
That's kind of like the shock issue too,
Yeah.
Rich,
Yeah,
where it's like
yeah.
a whole droplet or 3/4 of the way down.
Right.
That brings us to Ford Boss Me's 5-liter problem.
Oh yeah, that too. You know, and that's the thing too, is when I seen the global service bulletin for those shocks that Anthony just talked about, we were getting these new Broncos that come in, and there's a global service bulletin out that says, if you're looking at the shock in the extended position where the umbrella's up here and the rest of the shock is down here, and you've got, say the shock, I can't kind of point it out on the screen for proper measurement, but say you've got 1.5 feet of shock hanging out on the bottom end of that umbrella, and only 4 inches or 5 inches of that is wet, and it doesn't go any further than that, that is considered a non-serviceable issue. I cannot service it until it exceeds a certain amount. And I'm looking at that, I'm like, that ain't normal. I shouldn't have that much moisture and wetness down this shock. But per Ford's global service bulletin, you cannot touch that until you exceed a certain amount of failure.
I'm just reading these comments here. These guys, one says, that's what I was told by my dealer with my upper oil pan. Had oil fitness? No, had oil film maybe all around the area, but they couldn't get new drips to come out under pressure. Especially I'll have upper oil pan trucks come in, upper oil pans. The whole underside of it is just completely covered in oil. You guys remember Matt Roden? He sent me a little ticky-tock little video malarkey he was doing and had to power wash. He's power washing the underside of the truck before he could even work on it because there's so much oil.
Yeah.
Are you replacing it? I mean, are you fixing the oil leak? Come on. Oversaturation.
Or the
We just
vacuum
took-
pump.
We just took care of a guy. One of the subscribers here on the channel came to see me that follows both of us. And when I was underneath his truck, I was like, man, this is such a cheer. It's like an 18 or a 17 Super Duty that only has like 20 some thousand miles on it. And he said, you know what? Even though it doesn't have a lot of miles on it, I still take care of this thing meticulously. I want you to go from front to back and change every single fluid in this vehicle that you can change. I want it all fresh. It's time. You know, even though I haven't hit the mileage, I've hit the year for it, change it all. And when I was looking at it, I looked at that upper oil pan that you point out, Aaron, right there on the driver's side.
Yep.
Kind of in the area where you can barely see it. I'm like, man, it's got an extended contract now. It's not under powertrain anymore. It's in the aftermarket. Like, this needs to be resealed. I don't like this. I understand that, you know, I'm not working with Ford anymore. It's the aftermarket warranty, and the aftermarket warranty company said, yeah, absolutely. Reseal it, pull the pan down, do everything. Just take care of it, because they don't have the same standards that Ford does. If you're seeing oil and it's coming out of there, it's leaking. I'm sorry. It shouldn't be there.
I agree. It's unfortunately something we have to deal with all the time. I hate oil leaks. I literally just had a 22 with 4,100 miles on it leaking from the driver's valve cover at the very back corner where it meets the head. Guy reached out over the internet, one of our local subscribers, and he sent me a couple of videos, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to see it for myself. Drops it off, and there's black oil. I mean, clean it, brake clean it with air, put dye in it. Now I'm gonna go drive it. Didn't see nothing at first, let it run for about 45 minutes, came back to it. No way. You can start seeing that little glistle of light between the crack. I let it go more, and here it comes. You can start to see the trail of black oil. I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
That's rare for a valve cover though.
Wow. So what I wound up doing was cleaning it off once more, and I let it run for like an hour. I didn't touch it. I had the hazards on. I had to go and hit the gas a couple of times so it didn't go into the half-hour shutdown. And I was wiping the back corner, and you could actually see oil start to like wick from the casting. Like it had like a porosity issue or something. I don't know, but I put a valve cover on it, gasket, the new fuel lines, had to reseal all the injectors. But I repeated the same thing, cleaning it off, driving it, and I have yet to hear back from the customer. I called him like a few days later, and he's like, everything's good. So kind of
the situation that Aaron brought up and that I kind of took over talking about with that whole rear end moisture that ended up turning into a catastrophic failure it's a true incident that just happened. It's a 22 F450 with a dump bed on it. It's from one of those local utility companies, and it doesn't even look like they barely use this thing. Like the bed's still like pure black and glossy. There's no like real scratches in the bed of the dump bed. They barely had any time to put any real miles on it. At 7,000 miles, 22 F450, the rear end howling and stuff like that. Pull the rear cover off of it, and it's just silver, straight, mucky, gucky rear. Just the gear oil is just all straight silver all the way through. You can see no more gear oil at all. And then you're looking at the spider gears and stuff, and the spider gears have all started to delaminate. They're all pitted. There's grooves that are starting to wear into the ring gear where you can run your finger around the tooth and you can feel it drop off and all the different layers that it's wore into the ring gear. And I'm like, man, come on, man. And it's the same situation, even though it wasn't the Anthony's truck, his 22. Even though we found out there's a internal trans sound coming from it, and they're saying that that's normal now on D-cell. His rear end, brand new with less than 1,000 miles on it. You pull that plug and it's just chewed up with just built up metal all over that magnetic plug, and the gear oil inside, real shiny, silvery and stuff like that. Just didn't look normal at all. And there's other techs that have reached out to me and they're like, yeah, we've already replaced 3 or 4 of these rear ends. This other guy, I've already been 2 this year. This other guy, I've already been through 4 of these rear ends. You know, it seems to be, it's not an uncommon problem.
Done? Okay.
Yeah, it's in my situation, the rear end I have to pull out of my E450. I'm gonna have to pull the fuel tank because I don't have enough room to get the whole pig out. So now I gotta drop the fuel tank that's got 560 miles to
Hey, there's some chatter in the comments about my air compressor. You guys, nobody's going to steal that compressor. The thing weighs like 800 pounds. It's behind a lock gate. Nobody's going to get that compressor. It would take 3 or 4 guys to lift that thing. And I think the cops would be on them before they made it out anyway. There's motion detectors around the place. That compressor's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Ooh, I had a 22 F250 M300 with 5K, was roaring its ass off. Same thing, except pinion preload wasn't tight from factory.
Some people are saying too tight. Some people are saying not tight enough. A lot of techs that have dealt with this are saying almost no backlash at all. There's not the improper gear lash and stuff set. But here's what we need to touch right now while we're on this subject. A lot of you guys like to point the finger at Ford. Ford doesn't build that rear end. That comes from a company that builds it and sends it as an assembly to Ford, and then that assembly gets installed into that truck. So although it's still at the end of the day going to be Ford's problem, Ford has to go after whoever it may be. There's many companies that build these different types of units and transmissions for big trucks, over the road trucks, 350s, 250s. And we all like to say the manufacturer, and you guys are right ultimately, but they're not the ones building it. It could be Meritor or Eaton or Fuller or whoever it may be.
Dana.
Transmissions, rear end, Dana, whatever it is. They build these units and then send it to the companies as a unit to get installed into these trucks. So it's not spec'd out. Ford tells them what to do. They go through different companies and vendors and stuff that say, I can do this. I can build it for this much, this much, this much. And then they sit down and they draw up a contract with them and they have them build it. And then it's spec'd out to what Ford wants. They build it, send it to Ford. Ford installs it. That's how it works. Ford doesn't build it.
GM ran through the same
Good
thing
point.
where they were chewing up rear axles left and right, and it turns out that the builders were not torquing the bearing caps that hold the differential in. So they'd get it out on the road. It would last 10, 15,000 miles, and it would just chew up the bearings and just waste the whole rear end. And it was the builder's fault because they were just under torquing all the bolts. I think they were leaving their factory at like 30 foot-pounds or something ridiculous.
Yeah, aren't they supposed to be close to like, what are they, 70 or 80 or somewhere in there?
80,
Yeah.
90, yeah, it's up there a little bit. And
So,
GM had to warranty the things, and I'm sure they got to work that out on that end with their supplier, but it's still GM's problem because their vehicle is in our dealership for the warranty. It's powertrain. Yeah.
When we did the one on Anthony's, Aaron, you sent Anthony to me. When we did the one on his, they got the FSC involved, and the FSC got to some bigger reps that kind of look at everything and figure out everything. And they ordered it directly from, I don't know, what was it, Dana or somebody like that. And they were like, look, we're going to try to get you a whole unit. We don't know if that's going to be possible right now because this truck is so new and they're still building these trucks, but give us some time. Let's see what we can come up with because we don't even have enough of these things in inventory. And they were able to pull some strings and order it directly from the vendor and then sent it directly to us. So that's how that all worked out. Before doesn't have anything to do with that.
True
Yes,
that.
it's out.
True that. Yeah,
no, I'm right here. No, I'm right here. I'm watching.
All I see,
All
are
we
you
see
under
is
the
the
covers or
headlight.
something?
No, I think
Yeah,
it's just
gone.
glitching. Like I'm looking right at it and it,
He's shape shifting,
yeah,
right?
the shape.
Yeah. If you can dodge a wrench, you can fly a ball. I mean,
Ray,
Dodge.
tell us
mean-
about the new shop. How's it going so far?
yeah. Break it down. Get down on it. Break it down for us, baby.
Cody, these people in the comments are taking this air compressor statement as a personal challenge. Would you like to be employed as nighttime security?
I'm
You
over at
can-
nighttime.
You can bring anything you want.
Dude,
like,
I
We
heard
got
you
this
got in
junkyard
trouble. I heard you
dog.
got in trouble for that thing for not turning it off right or something.
I don't know. I turned it off by flipping the breaker, and they said that that's wrong. I don't know.
I don't know either. I never.
Yeah, I mean, I turn stuff off with the breakers all the time.
What's the difference between
wrong with
that
that.
and a switch? And the
Right.
What's
A
that?
switch
Something
is a
about
breaker.
like shutting it down or something the right way.
You
It's
know
like
what?
never do that. I don't know why.
Have you seen that young guy that got his account deactivated for a while, and then I think they had to fight back for it on TikTok, but he's like 21, 22 years old, and he's like a genius. He built his own electrical grid in his backyard and everything else like that, and he's got like electrical fuse panels from like the 1920s still around. He walks right up to he walks right up to those things. He's only like 21, 22 years old, and he's an absolute genius. He's one of the smartest people that can see how electricity works and building grids and transformers and everything else and doing math in his head real quick. And he went right up to that 1920s panel and he was like, oh, this is how I turn it off. And he put his hand right in that breaker, right in the thing, just yanked it right out of there. And it was like, oh, now I'll put it back in. He just shoves it right back in. He said, there's nothing to worry about. I don't know why these people are so worried about this. Yeah.
I mean,
and that-
maybe if
So
it's
it's
like
like
an
a lot of
arc fault
current?
breaker or something like that, but I got a regular breaker.
people, I think people get too involved in our personal life sometimes, and and they just. I'll say
So it
nothing
wasn't-
else.
It wasn't like you were gonna get shocked or nothing. It was something about the
Hey,
compressor. I thought.
If
I
they
don't
think
know.
that's bad, they should see what size wire I'm running that compressor with.
What are you running for? What size wire? What's
I
wrong
don't,
with
I don't know. It was in the wall. I just used that.
wire?
Cliff knows.
He said, "Man, the dome light, 18 gauge."
It's a little bigger than that. Yeah. No, Cliff, don't tell him. Don't eat. Well, Cliff's still between 12.
Oh, my
I let
goodness.
the cat out of the bag. He's got a glowing 18 gauge wire every day.
Well, then if they're really mad about the 12 gauge wire on a 20 amp breaker, wait till I use a 30 amp breaker with 12 gauge wire. Yeah. Yeah. Here we go.
other than your air compressor,
No, it can
How's your
catch on
shop?
fire. It's fine if it catches on fire, because if it catches on fire while I'm there, I've got fire extinguishers. So it'll be
Well,
fine.
I've been tuning in, but it's like when you're talking about the air compressor, I really saw like you pan over and it seemed like a really open concept. Like it's open to the outside.
Yeah, it's not inside of my door. It's like I've got an awning out in front of my door, and I guess that's kind of like a flat stall or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's just kind of out there, not inside the building. And I did that for floor space and for I don't want to move it again. And
Nobody's
Noise.
gonna get that. Nobody's gonna get that compressor. If anybody tried to get that compressor, they'd be the biggest buffoon ever.
we
There's
had to
gates you
walk
gotta-
it with two guys onto the trailer and then pick it up with a forklift to get it off. It's not going
Yeah.
anywhere.
They
Nobody's
won't get very far.
nobody's touching that thing. And with the gates and all, you would be it's not even worth it. It's not worth to go to the trouble. It's worth it to you because it's yours and it's a good compressor, but it's not worth it to them to even attempt that. And then if somebody around there sees it happening, and it would have to be at night, they would know something's wrong. You're
Yeah.
asking for problems.
Well,
Especially-
there's guys on the other side of the parking lot, and they're all working out of like storage units or whatever. There's like 4 or 5 other shops, and it's just in this, long building with a, bunch of storage unit sized bays. And those dudes are there all night. Like I've been there at midnight, and they're in there cutting and welding and grinding and painting like this. The place is nonstop. Plus there's some tow trucks around. And so the tow truck guys, they're in and out all night too. So it would have to be an inside job with a bunch of collaborators to steal my air compressor. In which case I would just find it, steal it back.
Or walk up to them.
Yeah, or walk up. Yeah, I'd sneak up and they wouldn't know I was there until the flashlight turned on. And you know what light I'm talking about.
Mhm. Not
It's the one that makes some clicky sounds and then strobe. Yeah.
Not the one you want to see at night.
That's the one that your next move dictates whatever you're going to see next, if anything.
You're gonna see the pure light.
Well, they won't see the flash. I have muzzle brake.
I mean, I was thinking you can even go up behind them without a flashlight with
Okay.
these and the infrareds, and they'll never see a flash.
You are a bad influence. I do not have infrared or night vision yet. You are a bad influence.
Okay, on to what's our next subject we want to talk about?
Let's talk about your 5 liter.
Okay.
5 liters are good.
All right. So we have an issue with 18 to 20 plasma lined cylinders in 5 liters. So it's no secret. We had one in February that we put in for drinking oil. There's a TSB where they want you to program the PCM. And basically what it does is it blurps open the throttle on decel events, so it pulls less vacuum on the valve train. So it's less susceptible to pull oil past like valve seals and through the PCV system, stuff like that. It's supposed to help with the oil consumption, except when they're consuming oil, it doesn't really help. It maybe a little bit. So you go from 4.5 to 5 quarts of consumption between oil changes to 4. And that's been the scenario with every one of them. They've been consuming about 4.5 to 5 quarts between oil change. And once you do the PCM update, you can go down to about 4. It's still way too much for Ford spec. I think when you read the TSB, it says it's like 1 quart per every 3,000 miles. And we put in for an engine, no ETA back order. In March, another one came in. We put in for another engine, 50,000 miles on it, no ETA back order. We've been waiting this whole entire time, still waiting for 2 engines. A third one came in, and it's bad. It's a 2020 with 30,000 miles on it. It's consuming 4 quarts between oil changes, and put in for another engine, did the smart cost cap. When the smart cost cap came up, it said right on top in red. So you Ford Tax and the smart cost cap system. When you're done, it will give you a go ahead and do the rebuild process or replace the entire assembly. It came up in red and it said no short block available or something like that, oil cooler or something like that on back order, and replace the entire assembly. Well, when you go to replace the entire assembly, we already have 2 we've been waiting on for almost a year now. We're not quite a year, but 10 months or so. And I know I'm not going to be able to get it. So I go to parts and I say, give me an engine. So they look up the engine and they said, oh, wait, it's been superseded. I click on the supersession and then it pops up obsolete. You cannot get this engine anymore. They're not making this engine anymore. And I said, what's that? What's that part number right above that one? With the C on the end. Cody knows what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's a gaseous, gaseous. I can't say it like Cody does. Gaseous prep pack. And I did some research, reach out, talked to a few people and stuff like that to figure out, can I use the propane 5 liter in place of the gasoline 5 liter? Yes, you can. It is an option. You're just not putting propane injectors back in it. And you're actually giving the customer a better engine with hardened valve seat, hardened valves. So everything swaps over. And some of them are in stock. So I go back to the warranty center through our warranty girl, and I send them a very nice, very articulated letter stating like, look, I've been waiting for one since this date. I've been waiting for another one since this date. We know you can't get me a gasoline engine, but there is another option that I would like to explore if you're okay with it and give me permission to do so, because My focus is keeping the customer happy at the end of the day, and customer satisfaction is my number one priority. So I would like approval on a gaseous prep pack 5 liter so I can get that put in this customer's vehicle. It's a little bit of an upgrade for them. It doesn't cost much more, and they are available. I might have to wait a couple days for it, but it is an option, and I'll swap everything over. I'll do everything that I can to get that engine in place of that gasoline one, and we can get the customer back on the road and satisfied. Well, they came back with, that's not our area to approve. You're going to have to go back to your parts guy and get a hold of another division of Ford to get that type of approval. So we're going that route now to see if I can get this gaseous prep pack to get the customer back on the road, because that is the right thing to do. And there are some of them in stock, but dealers across the country right now are waiting for these 5 liters. And unfortunately, with the information that I'm seeing, they're just not going to get them. The
So
engine
they
is
wouldn't
not-
let, they wouldn't let you get the natural gas one?
You'll
Are
be
you
able to you'll be able to use the natural gas one as long as they're in stock.
right.
It's same
Will
with
they,
the
will they,
Mustangs.
will they warranty that though?
Yes, they will.
They will.
Same thing with the Mustangs. You can go Ford Performance and get the Ford Performance engines with the
Yeah.
Mustangs, since
And-
they're unobtainable.
And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to explore the different venues to make the customer happy. And this is just me speaking in my personal opinion. Let's take the tech title away and just leave it as a person on the outside looking in. I'm Mr. Customer with a vehicle that's still under powertrain warranty. You're telling me I have a defective engine, and now you have a service writer calling me, telling me this engine is obsolete. I don't know how I'm going to help you. What do you mean? You sold me a vehicle that's still under warranty. It's got 30,000 miles on it, and you can't fix my vehicle because you have something that's obsolete? Well, then how about you buy my truck back from me and you don't make me have this problem, because that's technically not my problem. That's your problem. You are the manufacturer, not me. I'm doing my part in paying my bill and paying for my warranty and everything else, and I can't utilize that because you can't produce the parts to fix my vehicle? Well, then take it back. That's not my fault. That to me sounds like somebody could be in some deep water there if something doesn't come up real quick, because we've been waiting almost a year for this stuff, and that is not right to the consumer.
Not only take it back, but provide another vehicle too, like.
Yeah, put me in another vehicle, then trade me out of that one. Give me a smoking deal on a new one, and put me in something that I can be happy with.
I mean, the thing is, it's overall cheaper just to get him an engine, even though it's not the technically correct one,
Right.
than buying the
That's what I'm
vehicle
thinking.
back.
That's what I'm thinking. Give me the engine. Let me get the car. Give me the engine. Just let me put it in the customer's vehicle. Let me make them happy. He loves the truck. He wants to keep the truck. It's all compatible. Let's stop playing games. Let's stop playing, the bean counters and stuff like that, trying to control everything. Ultimately, the customer is what employs us and makes the lights stay on and creates the flow for business. So if we're not making them.
What's the difference between the CNG engines and the regular gas engines?
Cody.
The valves, the seats, the springs, it's just basically the upper end. So this top end doesn't destroy itself when it's running on CNG.
Okay.
It's a better
So-
package.
So why
Does it
don't they
still
just
have
make
that
that
liner?
the standard and not build a lower tiered product for everybody to have to put in warranty claims on it? It doesn't seem to make sense.
Well, the problem is, although the valve train is upgraded, the block is still a plasma line block. So no matter what, if I put this customer in this better, somewhat upfitted or better or more robust version of the 5 liter and swap all the gasoline stuff over, yeah, he's got some better upper end valve train components, but he still has a plasma line block. Who's to say I put this new engine in that vehicle and 15, 20,000 miles from now, it's not right back to doing the same thing and consuming oil again? There's nothing to say that. People have already stated it's rolling the dice, because there's a huge portion of people out there that are saying we never experienced that oil consumption with that 5 liter between 18 and 20. And then there's a huge portion of people out there that are saying, yeah, We're consuming crazy amounts of oil. What do you do?
Supposedly they got rid of the liner for the 23 or the 24 model.
Yeah, the Gen 4s, that's why they're not making any Gen 3 motors. It's 'cause they've moved on to the Gen 4 motors.
Mhm.
So they're done with them. Now they're
And-
waiting for the remans.
The problem is what they need to do when they come in, and this sucks, and how you handle this, I don't know. They need to have an allocation for the customer to drop off their vehicle, let people like us pull these engines, drain them, and have them sent back to properly be rebuilt, go the wait time while they're in another vehicle that Ford's taking care of and paying for in the meantime. When their engines come back in and they're all rebuilt, put them back in the vehicle after the problem's been fixed, and you've just fixed the problem. Yes, it's going to take longer, but at least you're not waiting a year for an engine to show up. Maybe a couple months. Okay, I get it, but that's still better than an entire year. That would be the solution. So why don't we approach that? Why is this such a hard thing to fix? Would we have to hire a completely different company to do this?
I mean, at this point, I don't see the problem with sending them out and having them rebuilt because it's
Yeah.
going to be less time.
Would you be able to get parts for it though?
Aftermarket.
Well, even at that, even when I went to that cost cap thing, it had 75% of the parts needed as green. It said the cams were green, the heads were green. It had almost everything as green with very little that you couldn't attain. It was just the block, the plasma line block they couldn't get. And it was like the oil cooler assembly said was on back order or we couldn't get at the time. But everything else, pretty much for the most part, was all available, it said.
What about, I mean, if it just needs this overhaul, you could even reuse the heads and all that stuff.
Right, exactly.
mean-
you can send the engine out and have somebody go through it and overhaul it and then put it back in.
I
It
mean,
doesn't
hell,
need a
really,
full, it doesn't need a full rebuild.
really all it needs is to be sent out, have the sleeves bored out and put some new sleeves in it.
And that's
Have new
what,
liners put in it.
that's what this customer had approached me and said, he said, Rich, even if they would pay you to pull my engine out, disassemble it or whatever, give me that engine. I'll take that engine to somebody and I will pay for them to punch it out and sleeve it and give it back to you in factory set and then continue reinstalling it. And now all they're out is removal and installation. They're not even out the upgrade. I will take care of the upgrade because he said, I want to drive this truck for the rest of my life.
So with that being said, let's say hypothetically that could be done. Do you think it would need pistons as well if they're going to do sleeves?
I mean, you're going to probably have to ring it at least. I don't know about
Ring it
pistons.
at least.
I mean, I don't know about pistons, but you would look at sleeves and
And rings.
at least sleeves and rings, and then
Yeah.
maybe freshen up the valves and stuff while you're there. If you see a problem, if you don't see a problem and you want to keep the cost as low as possible, that's fine. Let the guy that's building it at the time inspect it because that's what he does. If he doesn't see a problem with anything, okay, now you've just got a freshened up engine. Now it's sleeved to the Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 4 style. And now you're not having this oil consumption problem anymore. You've just fixed the problem. Now you've got a happy customer for the entire time he owns this vehicle from now on.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if we're not getting an engine for a year, might as well send it out, sleeve it, and be done with it. Because it's just, we know it's short block problems.
Yeah. There's a reason why we can't get it. We can't touch the short block. I mean, I was expecting something, at least to say there's like a dozen.
Or
says,
better yet, like I think they can run into some problems with consistency. But even if you sent it to them and they even had one machine shop that they could trust or whatever, because if you're using a local guy, maybe they don't trust that particular business or whatever. But something needs to be done.
There's a guy down here that does it like for a business. That's all he does is punch out 5 liters, and he does it to Gen 1 to the new cars.
I mean, they should have the equipment to do it themselves anyway.
I mean, I'm sure, again, these are all contracts that are contracted out and people build these things for them. But I'm sure you can reach out to the people that you have contracts with and say, what are our options? What can we help fund? can we help fund an additional support to your establishment to make, so you can continue building Gen 4s for us, but let's bring in another crew to start cleaning this up. Let's make this happen. Whatever it will be, reach out, try something, do something, put out some kind of service message to the community to say, look, we are now establishing communication with machining shops and all this other stuff, engine builders or whatever, and we're moving from there. We're trying to start some kind of contract to take care of this problem. And instead of being quiet about it and not saying anything at all and just saying this is an obsolete component that you can't even order anymore. If a customer came in right now and said, you know what, I don't care about the warranty, just order a new engine. I'm ready to pay cash for it right now. And our parts guy went through the system to order it, obsolete. That's not an option. That should not be an option on a 2020.
Oh
Uh,
shit, you shouldn't.
That's
Well,
crazy.
don't get a 5-liter. Everyone's saying the 5-liter is going to be the best engine. Oh, don't look to be the case. Maybe now with they've
2018 to 20 was the problem. Before that was not. You know, I tell everybody all the time, 11 to 17, 11 to 17 were my favorite gens so far. And then 21 and above, we've had no real issues with them. It's 18, 19, and 20 where all the issues were. And that's where I try to tell people, if you're going to go buy one, realize not every single one of them had oil consumption problems, but there was a big portion of them that did. And you may buy one that has this oil consumption problem. And I'm not telling you to steer away from it because I love Ford's 5-liter engine. I absolutely love it. It has its little quirks and sounds and ticks and taps and stuff like that, but it is a dynamite platform. The potential for big power is there and just overall reliability, but 18, 19, and 20 just consume oil.
Previously did a 21, but it wasn't oil consumption related. It was a very, very weird noise that wasn't even the barbecue tick.
You had to put an engine in it?
Yep. First they said change the chains and the chain guides and the timing cover, and it was still making the same noise. And I had to send pictures into it. And it looked back right behind where the tensioners are. It was almost like sludge, like when they casted the engine and it just mixed with the engine oil. So they sent me another engine, and the other engine didn't have any of that in there, and the noise went away.
Good.
You guys are bringing up some interesting stuff in the comments.
LS.
LS and Ford Tour. Who would like to see a video of Ford Boss, Rain Man Ray, CP, DST, and if Bearded Ford Tech can make it, all go on a videoed. We'll do a live, a secretory live. DS can hook us up.
I got an idea. Hook you up. I got a better idea. We break in. We all take turns. We go to the Ford Rouge. We walk up there. We figure out. I'm not gonna say how, but there's a way.
Everybody, he's been sleeping.
Let's
He's
just say
delirious. We do not participate or condone in any type of shenanigans or criminal mischief.
I'll show you how.
Do you realize who my employer is?
We put a
Boy,
we get in there. Once we get in there, we pull out our cameras.
Oh, just email Farley and ask for permission to film there. That's
we'll worry about that after.
Hey,
we'll worry about all that.
DS, stop.
Look, I'll go up for the Ford Tour, but I'm gonna wear my L5P Duramax t-shirt.
Oh man,
where are we going? I'm lost, man. Where are we going?
I don't know.
You're gonna be wearing a Duramax shirt. You're gonna get us.
I'll wear my Duramax shirt.
Okay, so back to what Aaron was saying. Because Aaron was onto something before DS brought up his.
It would be really cool to. I know Cody's going to be coming up here in December. Ford Boss. He's not that far away, but Rain Man. I mean, it's.
We can get him up here.
Yeah, planes. I can fly in airplanes.
I will orchestrate a party pack of tour tickets. We have, let's just say, 6 people right now. I don't know what the limit is for the tour to have at one time I will find that out. We can make an announcement, but I will pay for another 6 guys to come and hang out with us if you're local, if you're not, whatever you want to do. But the tour is actually pretty sweet. I don't work there. I know the guys who work there. It's, you know, blah 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 blah. But after seeing the F-150 get built and just everything coming together, I had a better appreciation for the product that I work on. And I mean, the Superduty and F-150 are very close. So to see the F-150 get married and everything come together, it's like, man,
Here's the thing.
That's
Here's
freaking
what I can
cool.
tell you. No bullshit though. This is what I can tell you. You can go that route with the tour and all that. The thing about the tour is once you go in there, they straight up tell you there is no cameras. We'll cover up your cameras with stickers. There is none of that. Or
Yep.
you could also go to the Rouge plant. You can go to the people in the labor department and you can get a film permit. And you can be like, hey, I'm Power Stroke Tech Talk, whatever. Just like how TFL, they
Yep.
come down there
Yep.
sometime, whatever. And they'll let straight up get signatures from like people on the line, and then they'll actually be in the video too. I remember when I was
Oh,
on the
wow.
line, they'd be like, hey, it'd be a company like TFL or whatever, companies like that. They'd be like, hey, they're here. We want to film. Do you want to be in a video? And then like, right now you go on YouTube, there's a camera crew that whatever walked down on the line and filmed you can get in there. I mean, just because you got a YouTube channel, you can get in there and actually be on the floor and actually do a real kind of thing.
Then we can go do it in Kentucky.
We can do that too. We can go to Kentucky.
Ooh, that would be sweet. Get PTT
I think
into
that would be
KTP.
cool. That one would be cool. Just going on a tour though, like there's just going to be a bunch of little kids and a bunch of schools on field trips.
We got a Canadian who says, damn, I could drive there from Toronto.
Do it.
We could hang
What if-
out.
What if we did that? But
We
what
could
if
have
we
some conies?
What if we just told like the labor people, hey, we're gonna bring all our followers down. We put a vest on everybody, and like 200 people just walk through there and do a tour.
That'd probably piss them off a little bit.
But it is
All you
Something to
got-
see
possible.
here. They'd be like,
It-
man, Jim
it
Tom's walking
happens,
through
though.
here.
That happens
Oh no,
all
this
the
is just an
time,
internet
though.
dudes. Don't worry about
All
it.
you got to do is have a vest and a ladder. You can get in anywhere.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
showed
That was
I
actually
sent that to
pretty
PTT.
funny. That was actually pretty funny.
I've
It
done the
worked.
tour twice, and I could sit there and watch it all day.
That's neat.
Coney sound good. We'll leave this thought for you guys. We'll end this here. If you could have a coney, look up what a coney is. I want you to tell me if when you come to Dearborn to go to this Ford Rouge tour, what kind of conies are you gonna get? Are you gonna get a coney with chili, fresh, strong white onions, maybe a little dollop of relish, ketchup, mustard, and possibly a Barks root beer, because Barks has bite? Let me know in the comments. Who wants a coney with DS? DS don't eat that shit. Bearded Ford Tech. Check out his channel, Cody, CP's Garage. Check him out. DS, when he's here, you can check him out. Rayman Ray, we love you. Ford Boss, we love you. We'll catch you guys all next time. Check us out tomorrow because we're going to have a cool short for you all and Friday's video. We'll see you guys. Thanks for watching.